Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna learn about plants. Okay, I do understand that there are a lot of humans, they don't like plants, but plants is something very important for your exam as well, right? So what we're gonna do today is you're gonna do photosynthesis. Actually, photosynthesis is not only for you to understand based on theory part. If your chemistry is good, you can also understand based on your chemistry concept as well. More or less the same. I will not say fully apply with your chemistry knowledge. It will be a very simple way for you to understand it when it comes to photosynthesis. So let's get started, okay? So photosynthesis, the first step we're going to start is with the structure of the chloroplast. Chloroplast is the one that carry out photosynthesis, right? As we all know, because it contains of chlorophyll, which is the green pigment. Out of so many things here, what is the most important part about the chloroplast? Obviously, it will be the granium and the stroma. So granium and stroma, right? What is the important one? Number one, we have to know granium contains of chlorophyll. It's the green pigment that traps sunlight. Without chlorophyll, there will be no photosynthesis. So this is the most important one. And second thing is granium, they will carry out light reaction. Stroma, they will carry out dark reaction. So no matter whether it's a granium or stroma, it contains of enzyme. Okay, so if there is an enzyme inhibitor, means the reaction will also stop out if there is an inhibitor because it has an enzyme over here. Now, since we know light reaction and dark reaction, what you have to understand from these two words, light means what? Means there's presence of sunlight or light, right? Okay, so light reaction only can happen when there is a presence of sunlight. What does dark reaction mean? It means without sunlight. Okay, without sunlight, it doesn't mean that no sunlight, is without sunlight. So light and dark reaction, they will happen at different phases in the daytime, or sorry, in the day, okay, 24 hours in the day. They will happen at different timing. Now, when it comes to light reaction, obviously, if there is a light, it must be a daytime. So light reaction will occur during the daytime, okay? Dark reaction, it has another name. The other name of dark reaction is known as a Kelvin cycle. But we don't write Kelvin cycle in the exam, actually. It's very rare for us to write, unless a teacher teaches you about Kelvin cycle. The other thing is dark reaction. Because light reaction happens during the daytime, right? What about the dark reaction? Dark reaction, if you're thinking that only happens during the nighttime, it's wrong, because as I mentioned, right, dark reaction, they don't need sunlight. It means with sunlight, they can carry out dark reaction. Without sunlight, they can also carry out dark reaction. So it will happen during the daytime and nighttime, which is the dark reaction. Day and night also can, as long as there is no sunlight, or without sunlight also can carry out. But light reaction, they must have a presence of sunlight. Okay, so these two reactions, right, they have different process name. So light reaction, the process name is known as photolysis of water. Dark reaction is what? Dark reaction we call it as reduction or fixation of carbon dioxide. So water and carbon dioxide, we call this as a raw material. What is a raw material? It is the material that is needed to carry out the process. It's called raw material. We have water and carbon dioxide. So sunlight is not a raw material, and of course chlorophyll is not a raw material. It's only water and carbon dioxide. So what does the photolysis of water means? Because if you understand the word itself, you should be able to solve the question over here. Okay, photo means light. Okay, photo means light. What does lysis means? Lysis means breakdown, or you can write split up. Breakdown or split also can. So this one applies to all of the bio question that you've seen it. Okay, all of the thing that phototropism are like. Okay, and then lysis, it means breakdown. Hydrolysis, it means breakdown, the presence of water. But this is to break down water molecule. You cannot use hydrolysis, right? Because how do you want to break down water with the presence of water? Of course, you break down water with sunlight. It's called photolysis of water. So fixation of carbon dioxide, they actually combine carbon dioxide with the hydrogen atom later. So what do you have to know here is you have to understand one thing. If there is no light reaction, there will be no dark reaction. If there is light reaction, there will be a dark reaction. These two processes must happen at the same time. That's why we say, right, nighttime we have lesser photosynthesis, because nighttime you have lesser light. Okay, so that's why nighttime you have more respiration, lesser photosynthesis. So light and dark reaction, both processes must happen at the same time. So we're going to solve this problem over here. Okay, now, since we know light reaction is with sunlight, how do you want to trap sunlight? It's by the chlorophyll, right? So chlorophyll, it will trap sunlight, they will excite the molecules, okay, of the chlorophyll, and they will release electron. What is the purpose of electron release from that? It's because that this electron, it will form into ATP. Okay, they will form into ATP. This ATP is very, very, very important for them to carry out that reaction. Okay, I will not explain using the sentence here because if I just read it out, there's no point for me to explain it, right? So this one you can just read it through. I will explain using the diagram over here. You can just draw it out, okay? Now, this ATP later we use it in that reaction, but right now we're going to continue with this one first. We all know that water in chemical formula is what? H2O, right? So H2O, it will be broken down because photolysis of water, right? Means what? Means it will break down with the presence of light. In order to trap light, you need chlorophyll. So you have chlorophyll at the bottom, and then you have light here. Okay? So this water molecule, when it is broken down, right, as you learn in chemistry, right, H2O, when it's broken down, you break that into 2 ions. What are the 2 ions? Number 1 is OH minus, number 2 is H plus, right? So we're going to write the OH minus first and H plus. What are the things that you have to take note here? Because in chemistry, OH minus is known as a hydroxide ion, right? But biology, we call it as a hydroxyl ion, XYL, hydroxyl ion. And then H plus is known as a hydrogen ion, same as chemistry. So OH minus and H plus. So in order for them to continue this thing, right, because they have charge right now, I don't want them to have charge. What can I do? I will release electron, I will receive electron, right? If it's a minus, okay, minus means what? Minus, they will release electron. Where do they release electron to? They will release electron to the chlorophyll, okay? They will release electron to the chlorophyll. So I'll write it. Release electron, okay, to the chlorophyll. So without charge, what do they form right now? They will form into OH group. OH group stands for hydroxyl group because it's hydroxyl ion, so it will be hydroxyl group. So this OH group, right, they will combine together. They will combine everything together. They will form into 2 products. The first product is water. Second product is oxygen. Is water important in light reaction? Not really. The most important one is oxygen. Okay, oxygen, it will be released to the atmosphere and is in order for the organism to carry out cellular respiration. So to explain, for you to understand more, oxygen, I'll mark it over here, is to release to atmosphere for organism to carry out cellular respiration. So cellular respiration means what? It means they will convert glucose into energy. It's called cellular respiration, which as a normal human, you should do that as long as you breathe, okay? Now, done with OH minus, right, we have to look at the H plus. H plus also got charge, right? So I don't want them to have charge. Since minus is to release electron, then plus, what we're going to do with it? We're going to receive electron. Where do we receive electron to? Since OH minus, they release to the chlorophyll. So right now, I'm going to receive the electron from the chlorophyll again. So we're going to draw over here. Okay, so they will receive electrons from the chlorophyll. So H plus with electron, right? What do they form right now? They will form into hydrogen atom. Hydrogen atom. This hydrogen atom, it will be brought to the dark reaction. So hydrogen atom brought to stroma to carry out the dark reaction, because light reaction happens in the granum, dark reaction happens in the stroma, right? So hydrogen atom is not and yet, because what does this process mean? Fixation of carbon dioxide, reduction of carbon dioxide. It means that this hydrogen atom, which is H, right, they will combine with carbon dioxide, because carbon dioxide, right, combine with carbon dioxide. What do they form right now? They will form into glucose. Glucose in chemical formula is C6H12O6, and then the side product is water. But as I mentioned, is water important? Not important. Glucose is the most important one. What is the purpose of glucose? So glucose, because it's the smallest molecule, right? So they will condense and store as a starch, which it can be found in the chloroplast later on. So you can say glucose condense into starch and store in chloroplast. So this is light and dark reaction, based on light and based on dark reaction. Does the drawing important here? Not important. Does the electron important here? Also not important. It means like how many electrons is being released, how many water molecule do you form, like how, don't have to write those, okay? I will not explain how do you get like 12, 24 or 6, okay? But if you want to write a complete equation for that, right? For water, starting point, we have 24 here. We have 24 OH minus, 24 H plus. They will release 24 electrons to the chlorophyll. You will form 24 OH group. And then you will form 12 water, 6 oxygen, receive 24 electron. They will form into 24 hydrogen, 6 carbon dioxide, and 6 water molecule. Is all the numbers here that I wrote here important? Not important. Because in exam, in sentences, right, you never write the numbers over here. But you have to know OH minus stands for what, H plus stands for what. Or you can just release electron in stuff. The number is not important, but just in case you are curious about the number, this is the complete equation, okay? Of course, we are just learning light reaction and dark reaction. If you combine everything together, how does it look like? Okay, if you combine everything together, it looks like that. Okay, I'll write it over here because it's very small. So the overall equation of photosynthesis, it will be, because in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, right? So on the arrow, you have sunlight. At the bottom, you have chlorophyll. So we're going to write the product. So first of all, what do you have? You have water, okay, plus carbon dioxide. It will form into glucose and C6H12O6, glucose and oxygen. How do we get this product? This thing actually form from combination of light and dark reaction. Where does the water come from? Water come from the light reaction because it's called photolysis of water. What does the light reaction produce? They will produce oxygen. This is also from the light reaction. And then carbon dioxide from where? From the dark reaction, because it's known as a reduction of carbon dioxide. What does the dark reaction produce? You'll produce glucose. So this is a combination of a light and dark reaction. If you want to have a complete equation, at the shorter chemical formula, you plus a 6. 6, 6, 6 shorter chemical formula. This is a complete equation. If you want to write 6 or you don't want to write 6 as an overall equation, it's totally fine. Is this important? Yes, it's important, because in exam, they will also ask you to write down the equation for the photosynthesis. So this is important for you to know. Now, based on what we understand from the graph here, from everything that we draw here, you have to know the sentences. But if you know this one, eventually you will know how to form sentences. Why would I choose to draw for you to understand? Because in exam question, they will not just give you a chloroplast. They will give you a graph, a diagram for you to identify which one is a dark reaction, which one is a light reaction. Okay. For example, the diagram, it will look something like that. This is the diagram that you have to know. So when it comes to this diagram, what you have to find first of all, you find the water. Water, because in order to have dark reaction, you must have light reaction, right? You find the water first, okay? This is the first part that where everything started from, right? Water, right? So it means that reaction M is a light reaction, right? Because light reaction must come first. Reaction N must be the dark reaction. If you want to find the water, what can you find? You find the products. Because light reaction produce what? Light reaction produce oxygen. Dark reaction produce glucose. So you can find the product. So either you find the water or you find the products. Either way that you feel is comfortable for you to find for the answer. Now, since it's water, H2O, right? What do they form? They will form into H plus and OH minus, right? So which one is H plus? Which one is OH minus? In the diagram, as you can see, hydrogen atom is H, right? So eventually A is a H plus. Hydroxyl group is what? Is OH minus, because it's hydroxyl group, so it's OH minus. Now, if you notice, there is one more labeling here, which is C, okay, C. What is C then? Since I know everything that I should know here, what is C? Just like I mentioned, right? In order to carry out dark reaction, what do you need? You need a ATP. So ATP will be used at this part here, where they will combine hydrogen atom with the carbon dioxide, okay? Hydrogen atom with carbon dioxide is with the help of ATP. Then they will form into glucose. So that's why if you notice, right, glucose, they don't write water because water is a side product. It's not the main product. When you compare the main product. So back to this question here, right? Where do I have to add with the ATP? The ATP should be added over here. ATP. So this is how it looks like. If you know the process over here, you should be able to answer the question just now. This is photosynthesis. Actually, to know photosynthesis is not enough. Usually question comes in the factors as well. What are the factors that it will affect photosynthesis? There are 3 factors. Light intensity, temperature, and carbon dioxide. When you have a higher light intensity, it means higher rate of photosynthesis. Higher rate of temperature doesn't mean higher rate of photosynthesis. Why? Because as I mentioned, right, there will be enzyme inside, right? The optimum temperature for plants to carry out photosynthesis, you have to base on the graph. In this graph here, you will notice it's 25 to 30 degrees Celsius is optimum temperature because enzyme is involved. When enzyme is involved, obviously there will be optimum temperature. Carbon dioxide, when you have more, then you have higher rate of photosynthesis. If light intensity is the factor, right? The other 2 factor, it becomes the limiting factor. It's the one that limits the reaction. If temperature is the factor, then light intensity and carbon dioxide will be the limiting factor. It's the one that limits the photosynthesis. This one you can use it for your paper 3 because if your ND manipulated is light intensity, your constant you can write temperature and carbon dioxide. If your manipulated variable is temperature, then your constant will be light intensity and concentration of carbon dioxide. So this is how we get your MV and RV based on the factor that we have learned in theory actually. Okay, now the other one is throughout the entire day, how would photosynthesis reacted in the 24 hours? We all know that the one with most sunlight obviously is daytime. After you pass the daytime, then the reaction will decrease. If there is a winter country like 4-season country, right, they will face the problem because with 4-season country during the winter time, they have a longer nighttime, shorter daytime. Then it will cause the plants to have lesser time for photosynthesis. So it will affect the crop yields. It means the production of the crop yield, it will reduce. So it will affect the economics in a way to say that to solve the problem, right, they will build a glass house. This glass house, everything in the glass house you can control. In Malaysia, we also have glass house. The glass house you can find in Cameron Highlands, Genting Highland, or even the Kundasang. These are the places where you can find a glass house. What is important about glass house? Because as I mentioned, everything we can control. There are 5 factors we can control. Number 1, we can control water. How to control water is by using a water sprinkler. So this water sprinkler is automated one. You can set timing. So every different time they will like sprinkle the plants. So it's automated one. So number 1, you can control water by using a automatic sprinkler. Important, the red color one is important, okay? Second one, temperature. Because as I mentioned, right, the higher the temperature doesn't mean that the higher the rate of photosynthesis. You have to maintain into an optimum temperature. Optimum is 25 to 30 degrees Celsius based on the diagram just now. So how do you want to control? You can control it by using a heater, regulated by a thermostat. So they will maintain an optimum temperature, not a higher temperature, but an optimum temperature for the enzymes to react in the plants. Okay, next one, you can control light intensity. How do you want to control? You can use an artificial light bulb. So this artificial light bulb, they can on it 24/7 because more light, it means more rate of photosynthesis, right? So you can use an artificial light bulb. So the glass can also reflect sunlight, is to prevent that excessive sunlight will enter to the plant. Because when you have excessive sunlight, maybe it will cause the plant to have mutation sometimes. So that's why the glass roof, the function is to reflect sunlight, excessive sunlight, okay? So that the light bulb can provide the optimum or even more light intensity for the plants. The other one, we have concentration of carbon dioxide. How do we want to increase the carbon dioxide? How do you want to maintain the carbon dioxide? Because in a glass house, right, you don't really expose to the entire world, like to the world. So in order to maintain this one, you can burn a paraffin. Paraffin is a type of wax. So when you burn it, it will release carbon dioxide. So this is how they maintain it. Depending on whether you want more or you want optimum, so you can use by burning paraffin. Next one is humidity. Humidity, you can use a humidifier. Why do you have to use a humidity? Because as you can control humidity, the environment is more not so dry, right? You can prevent excessive water loss. So that's why you have to maintain the humidity by using the factors. So when a glass house can control everything here, it means that the plants in the glass house, they can produce in a larger amount and in a faster rate. Because 24/7 you're carrying photosynthesis. Is it a good thing? Of course, it's a good thing. It's a good thing for plants to have a light reaction 24/7. Okay, so that will increase the production of photosynthesis. If the question asks you, if a plant exposed to sunlight 24 hours in a day, what happened to the dark reaction? Okay, if the question asks about this, right? What happened to the dark reaction? Your explanation should be the dark reaction will increase as well. Why? Because as I mentioned, in order to have dark reaction, you must have light reaction. When you expose to sunlight 24 hours a day, right, it means the plants get to carry out light reaction 24/7. 24/7 light reaction means 24/7 dark reaction. So the production of crop yield will increase because you have a complete photosynthesis. So this is what we have to know about photosynthesis. Actually, it's not very hard. So the first thing here is you have to know how does this entire thing works. If you are able to write everything out, you have no problem forming sentence already. Really, you have no problem forming sentence, okay? Because this is a sentence, right? If you read through, it's exactly the same as what you have drawn just now. So we are done with photosynthesis. If you have any question that you want to ask, you can comment below. If you have any chapters that you don't understand, I can also try to do it during the CMCO time. So I will see you guys next time. Hope you guys understand from this video. So bye guys.